We are live on Black Man Lab. Thank you everybody for joining tonight. We're going to have a great discussion about navigating the college experience. I am Marty Monaghan, one of the co-facilitators of Black Man Lab. I will be on my brother Joe Barker. Joe?
Good evening, good evening. Thank you for the panelists that are with us, and thank you for our host as always, and Jarrod, Brother Grant, another good alpha man that's on the line, Brother Glover. Jarrod Grant here with us. He's going to be playing double duty for us this evening. He's going to be doing the libation from our ancestors as well as he's going to be one of our strong panelists tonight. So glad you could be here. Evan, good to see you, brother. And Brother Glover, thanks for joining us this evening.
Absolutely.
And what we'll also have Brother Mally Davis will be joining in. I'm on the road, so once Mally joins in, he'll help co-facilitate as well. For those that are watching, Black Man Lab was founded roughly about 4 years ago by Brother Mally Davis and a couple of other brothers from an organization called Let Us Make Man. And it was founded upon the premise of us being able to have conversations with our sons that sometimes fathers can't have with their sons, but they have, you know, an uncle, a close friend, or somebody like that have a conversation with their son just to help them to matriculate through life. Well, that started as just a small group of people, and it's gotten today to the point where when we are meeting live, we will have over 250 young men and men in the room sharing information. We do this every week. So this week we are now doing it virtually due to COVID. And we have a great panel tonight that will have this discussion. But there are some things that we do just to get centered every week. When we have this sacred time together, we want to make sure that we are in a space that we are able to allow information to flow freely through us and come from a space of love. That's all it's about. So with that, one of the first things that we always do is try to bring our ancestors into the space, because we know that this work that we do could not be done without the work of those that came before us. So with that, I'm going to ask Brother Jarrod Grant to step in and bring the ancestors into the space. Jarrod.
All right, thanks, Brother Marty. Thanks, Brother Joe. Our ancestors are very important to us. We want to bring them into this space in our hearts and minds. So I'm going to just ask you to think about, put them in your hearts and minds, some of our great ancestors who did some great things throughout the world. So think of an ancestors anywhere from any place and put them in your hearts and minds for about 3 seconds. Go ahead, 1. All right, and now everybody raise up your fist. And then 1, 2, 3, Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe-o.
Ashe-o.
We also want to bring in those national ancestors, those African Americans that have done some great things for us and put us in a good place, whose shoulders we stand upon. So think right now of some of our great ancestors for about 3 seconds. Now everybody raise your fists. And on 3, 1, 2, 3, Ashe, Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. Now, think of some of your own ancestors, the blood from your own bloodline, those who created you, that made you. Think of some who have passed in your own family line and put them in your hearts and mind for about 3 seconds. All right, and raise your fists. And everybody say Ashe 3 times. Ashe, 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 Ashe,
Ashe. All right, thank you, Brother Grant. Appreciate that. And Joe, if you could get us centered with, you know, just a good breathing exercise, and then we can get right into it after that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one thing about the Black Man Lab is when we were able to meet in space with one another, you know, we all are navigating through many different things. This week's topic is the college experience. But from week to week, you know, Brother Davis and the Brothers of Black Men Lab were able to create a safe and sacred space. So we're brothers. If they had a rough week, we could hug up on them, touch base with one another, just check in on one another. So in this quarantine space, it's a little bit different for us, but we still want to center ourselves. We still want to make sure that, we're breathing positivity in and exhaling out all those things that might be binding us down. So what I want to do is just a couple of deep breaths we're going to take and exhale out as we get started here. So on the count of three, what I want you to do is just take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Now breathe it out. Breathe it out. Breathe it out. And just let that positivity come in. Let that which is binding you down, burdening you, just let that exhale out of you so you can be comfortable and confident in us with this safe and sacred space. Let's do it one more time with a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe it in, that positivity, and exhale out all that may be binding us down. So we appreciate you joining us here. Thank you to all of you that are on the panel and going to be part of the conversation here. And with that, Marty, I see Molly has joined us, so I'll let you two guys get it kicked off here.
Yeah, man, I'm going to let you guys handle it from here, Joe. So hand it over to you, Molly. Introduce our esteemed guest, and let's get into the conversation, man. Thanks again, y'all, for being on. I'll be listening in.
Thanks, Marty. Travel safely, brother. What's up, fellas?
What's happening?
Hey, man, it's a beautiful day in Black Man Lab, bro. This is it. We got our young ones. We got a Morehouse student, a FAM student. We got my brother Big Al from Chi-Town bringing it in, and brother Jarrod. So we've got some more seasoned brothers, as we would say. And the funny thing is, Jarrod, Al can hoop, man. Al's a hooper. So we got a couple hoopers in the house, man. So
Appreciate that.
That's what we doing, y'all. So, man, we're gonna jump into it. And Joe, man, thank you, brother, for all you do on so many different fronts. And we'll just tag team this thing. And just want to give everybody a little bit of context. We're here because our sons need us, and we need them. And that's the bottom line. We need each other. We need to be in communication. We need to have this intergenerational dialogue in this safe and sacred space, as Marty described it. So we want to talk about what it's like right now to be in school, how to move in a positive way during this COVID-19. And, we've got, again, a couple of different perspectives. I'm hoping we'll get even a younger brother on in a few minutes as well. But for now, let's just talk about how are we navigating as students and professionals, how are we navigating during COVID-19? And Al, why don't we start, man? Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell the folks a little bit about what you do, why you do what you do. Give them some context. You're a husband, you're a father, or organizer, comedian. A lot of different fronts. But give them some backdrop, and then after that, we'll come to Evan for Evan to reintroduce himself, and then we'll come to Professor Grant, and then we'll come to Robert Bozeman II. And we'll do it in that order if everybody's cool with that for a little intro. Go ahead, Al.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the opportunity. I've watched this platform grow on social media and always wanted the opportunity. Literally just landed here, got back in town, got this call, and extremely excited. My name is Kisalan Glover, right? Extremely unique name. And so from a little boy, I've always seen myself as extremely unique. I had a name, I needed to carry that name in a positive way because it could have went the wrong way. And so I've always somewhat carried myself that way in and throughout playing ball, in and throughout going to college, through all my networking, just always walked in a way where I stood up straight. Grew up in a community where the neighborhood was rich. We didn't have much, but the neighborhood was rich. And so I hear people talking about getting back to the uncles and the neighborhood being able to kind of guide some of these students. Looking forward to talking through that. Went away to school, played some ball, went to Kentucky State, pledged, graduated, and went into sales, went into the field of sales. It was the easiest thing. Had to get from Gap, was from Chicago, but for whatever reason, education kept calling me. Being in front of young men, I always did well in front of young men and men of color and young women, because I was able to take a high-level message and make it extremely digestible, whether it was through their music, whether it was through their fashion, whether it was just through being a great listener and not always having all the answers. That took me to where I am now. And I know we'll get into a little bit more context, but as the director of enrollment for City Colleges of Chicago, in particular Truman College, had the distinct privilege of working with these students of color on a daily basis. And it is, as you all know, an arduous task, but being a listener, being someone there for them to talk to and kind of, to your point, navigate that experience, there's a responsibility comes with it. I hold it in high esteem. And so I'm learning today from you brothers. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, my brother. We appreciate you, man. And, I got some cousins in Chicago who might need your help getting into school, bro. So
that's all I do all day, every day.
Keep a foot in the door for them. You know what I'm saying? Maybe throw open a window, let them in.
That's it.
Come on, young Evan, man. Evan got a chance to roll with us this weekend down to Sylvania, Georgia, in South Georgia. He was a part of that protest action there to lift up the life of Julian Lewis, who was killed by a state trooper on August 7th, unarmed, for no reason. Now he is another lost life. And so, Evan, come on in, man. Good to see you, brother, rocking your A hat.
Good to see you as well, Mr. Davis. My name is Evan Wasson. I'm a freshman business administration major with a focus in marketing from Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm originally from Lansing, Michigan. And as Mr. Davis said, this weekend I did get a chance to go down to Sylvania, Georgia with a good group of like-minded individuals that said no more. So we went down there, made a great presence, and made our voice known down there. And it was a great experience for me as well. And during this time of COVID, of course, I'm in college from my house. Even though I wish I was on campus, it hurts a lot, but it's good to know that the AUC and the university has our health in great interest, if that makes sense. And they're still doing a great job of still giving us an experience virtually. And doing the best they can. And I appreciate my professors for putting their best foot forward, because even in this time, it's really easy for people to be lackadaisical with their jobs and their careers, but they're showing great care about our futures and nurturing our minds. So I appreciate that so much. And platforms such as the Black Man Lab, so we can discuss things like this in this time.
Evan, a quick question, man, just to follow up so you can give people some context. How bad did you want to go to Morehouse, man?
Oh my God, I wanted to go so bad, man. So look, I remember when I applied to Morehouse, I really applied the day of early admission, like the night of. The application was due at 11:59. Me, my brother, and my mother was in the living room at 10:30 getting my application done. And through that whole fall semester at Westlake High School, I was just stressed a little bit, you know what I'm saying? People would ask me, what's up with Morehouse? I was like, I don't even want to talk about it. And I was just nervous. And I remember I had got an email saying that I was waitlisted, that I had to get my grades up. So my second semester, I went the hardest I could. And I wasn't really thinking about it too much. I was just like, I just got to get my grades up so I can get into school. Worst case scenario, I can go to another school. But I remember I was leaving school one day, and I got an email from admissions. It was about new student day, and I ran out of school. It was pouring rain that day. I started crying. I ran to my car. I saw my friends. I called my first people I called was my mother and my brother. I told them I got in. They were so proud of me. And I called you, and I was like, man, we did it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the lab just knew y'all had faith in me that I could do it, and just enabled me to be open-minded in situations when I feel like times is tough. So that's a prime example of with COVID too. So just keeping an open mind, and we done got over situations before, so it's nothing we can't handle. So yeah.
My man.
Man, I had to pull that in, Ev, because I just wanted, you know, I think it's important for the folks that are watching to know how badly some of our young people wanted to be where they are, but not knowing where they'd be, if that makes any sense. That not knowing that they'd be in this COVID environment and they wouldn't be able to be on campus and have the homecoming and do the Morehouse introduction, and all of those rituals are huge, you know, especially at HBCUs. And so I just wanted, you know, everybody to kind of hear your story directly. We're gonna bring on Professor Grant. And I don't know what he's wearing, but he has on something that is quite confusing.
He represents the frat.
Man,
Don't start, Molly. You're outnumbered, brother.
Yeah, I know. I'm always outnumbered. It's okay though. It's okay. Come on, Professor Grant, and then we'll have young Robert Bozeman II coming from Florida A&M University.
How y'all doing, brothers? Jarrod Grant. I teach at Clark Atlanta University in the Department of Political Science, and I've been a professor there for a few years, and it's been a great experience. This new year, of course. Oh, I went to Wilberforce undergrad. I pledged at Wilberforce, Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and went to Clark Atlanta University to get my master's, and currently in the tail end of my PhD. So
outstanding. That's what's up, man.
And looking forward, I was looking forward. I love teaching and working with young people. And I had a professor at Wilberforce who received his doctorate from Clark Atlanta in the Department of Political Science, provide me with one of the first classes that I would say that brought me into some level of consciousness. And so as the brothers know in here, college days swiftly passed. That experience helped shape me into wanting to be a scholar for the most part. And so this is the time that you really want to, and I work with political science students, that you want to take in your hands your future. You really want to plan out what your future is. Brother Maoli Davis does in his Consequences of Thug Life, a 10-year outlook from 17 to 27. And so I do a similar exercises with my students with the next 5 years, that you should be looking to graduate from college and then be looking for the next phase of what you're actually going to go into. And so is that graduate school? Is that law school? Is that to become a doctor? And this is a great time for you to go ahead and facilitate, take care of all of that business. And we're here to assist and help you on that. Many of us are here because we didn't have us when we were coming around, when we were coming up. And so it's good to have some mentorship, you know, towards that end. So I look forward. This is a difficult year because we're online. So students are virtual with me. I like to be present with them and not do so much of the online stuff because we have to connect. And so so I enjoy, my students say they rather connect. If it's even just virtual, let's connect and not do so much online assignments like that. And so that's what we are. And I'm looking forward to working with you brothers. Evan, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the AU and seeing you on the promenade and seeing what y'all talking about. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And I just want to reiterate one of the things that I think is so beautiful and why, you know, I found myself so often leaving the Naval Academy to try to get to Howard every chance I could is because of the relationships and the camaraderie and the love. And that is a in-person experience, right? That's, you know, it's be able to connect with your people, you know, to sit with your folk is a important, powerful thing to do. And so we just want y'all to, you young brothers, everybody that's out there that's watching, you know, just hear the love coming from all of us and just, you know, hang on so that you can have that experience where you get on campus and move smartly. I want to bring on a brother who has a hybrid, he's having a hybrid experience at Florida A&M University. And Robert Bozeman, the second is a full scholar, and been knowing this young man since before he was born. So we really love to see how he's developed and evolved. And just come on in, young brother Bozeman, and tell him about your experience at FAM, what it's like, and give him a little background.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name's Robert Bozeman. I'm from Atlanta, grew up in Atlanta. I'm a freshman here at Florida A&M. I got here on a full ride, so I'm pretty lucky to have that. So it's kind of an interesting time right now. We all know what's going on. So like you said, it's a hybrid experience. It's tough. It beats being at home, but it's tough because you're even more on your own. I haven't met with any adults, maybe like, you know, I haven't met with my advisors. I haven't met with teachers, anything like that. So I say it's more independent because I have to manage myself, manage everything on my own. It's nice not having to get dressed and go to class. I'm not gonna lie. I do class in my bed sometimes, but it's definitely some challenges that come with what's going on right now. So what was the question?
What's your major? Tell them your major, brother.
All right. I'm majoring in computer engineering. I'm still hoping to go to law school when I graduate. So we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, I'm interested in engineering, technology, that whole sort of field. So
and I don't want, you said it kind of quick and on the slide. You were like, I got a full ride. So I want everybody to understand when we say full ride, we talking complete. This brother damn near scored a perfect score on the SAT. Just had worked his behind off. I could give y'all some backstories because I get to talk to his dad every day. But I think the important part is the support of family, the support of his grandparents and his parents, and he's you know, really just tried to, I think, really shine a bright light on when you have that kind of support. You know, we win, man. And so parents, I know it's been frustrating with my sons. I got one that's at Howard at home and one at Emory that's, you know, kind of on the hybrid tip. Parents, we just have to just know that you don't know who you got in your house. You just got to keep loving on them, keep believing in them, and keep pushing them. So I want to come back around the horn. Joe, you got a question you want to throw out there to get it kicked off?
I do. You know, it's difficult because I want to start with Brother Glover and Grant, kind of sort of just to talk about some context, but I really need to revisit Evan and Lil Bozeman, having met and talked with both of them at length. You know, fellas, tell us, Evan, you told us a little bit about what it took for you to get into Morehouse and your grind and your hustle. You got a lot of young brothers out here listening to you now that are tuned in. You got some parents that are getting on their sons saying, hey, this is what needs to happen, da-da-da. Bozeman and Evan, and Bozeman, let's start with you. What was your high school career like? What was that last year or so in high school focused on, knowing what you were trying to achieve to get this full ride, to get in the FAM and do some things before any of this hit? Just all the money that it meant that you might be able to, you know, take that burden off of your parents a little bit. Tell me what that grind was like your junior, senior year.
All right. For me, my senior year, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty easy because for me, most of everything I had it figured out junior year. You know, my in October of my senior year, that's when I found out I was going to college for free, which is pretty early in the year. So,
Right.
you know, once you figure that out, well, you know, school is just like, I'm just going just to go now. So I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, I was just going just to go. So school, 12th grade was pretty easy.
What about that junior year, though? Because I know that junior year is
right.
what helped your senior
Junior year was a grind.
Junior year was tough. Junior year.
All right, junior year, classes were tough. I took all the hardest classes I could. I took a bunch of AP classes, a bunch of IB classes, made decent grades. So, but now, I'm not gonna lie, it's probably gonna get a lot harder because as y'all see, a lot of schools, what they're doing, well, it's harder for some people, it's gonna be easier for some people. For me, if I were to graduate this year instead of last year, I don't think I would have gotten a full ride. And that's because, like Uncle Mowley said, my test scores were so good. And I knew that, you know, I always knew I was a good test taker, so my grades didn't hold as much weight. But now with COVID and everything, kids can't take tests like that anymore. So I don't know if y'all keep up with schools and all that, but a lot of them are starting to waive the SAT, ACT requirements. So it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be a lot more competitive for kids that aren't great test takers. So I just think it's going to be a lot harder to get into schools. So I'll say your grades are going to hold more weight, your grades and your extracurriculars. So that's another regret I have. Stay active, because people don't understand how grades, I would say your grades are like 40% of getting into college. Test scores are like 20, and then everything else is extracurricular. Are you in clubs? What's your role in these clubs? All those types of things. So one word to describe your last couple years in high school more than anything should be busy. So I would say just try to stay active, stay engaged, and just fill up your day every day, and then you'll be fine.
That's a good testimony, because that helps young brothers understand that the work and grind you put in there put you in a position to be where you are now. Now, Evan, your senior year was a little different. I mean, you told us a little bit of the context of that, but, you know, how did your senior year help prepare you for what's going on right now, especially given this environment?
Right. So as Rob said, senior year was for the most part easy, because when your year is building up to your senior year is the grind that's going to dictate how your senior year is going to go. So if you're not really doing that great your freshman year, you're going to be working the back end of your high school career. So with me, I had fairly good grades from 9th through 11th grade, and senior year, I want to say like around the end of junior year, early senior year was when I started to get more involved, because my test score, taking tests and my grades were, that was kind of already mandatory. I wasn't really focused on involvement that much. At the time I was playing sports. So when I stopped playing sports, I had to do something. I had to be active in some way. So I started to be involved in more extracurricular clubs. I was just like looking for clubs just to join that would be somewhat beneficial, things I was interested in. And then I ended up getting involved in stuff outside of school, such as Black Man Lab. I'm so grateful for that. So like the summer going into my senior year, I started going to the sessions more and more and meeting new people, and it opened my horizons to different clubs I can join within my school or just in my community, period. So I was really in, like I said, I was like the most involved I've ever been in my high school career was my senior year. And I believe that just was like the cherry on top for my college readiness, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was.
I appreciate both of y'all kind of talking about the extracurricular piece, that, you know, it wasn't one dimensional. You guys were multi-dimensional, you know, players in high school, getting everything well rounded to get you ready for this experience. So I appreciate both you guys kind of attesting to that. Mal, did you have anything or?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring, we have a young brother here. Come on, Thurgood.
Hi.
Introduce yourself, tell him your name and where you go to school.
I'm Thurgood Johnson, and I go to Bulk Academy.
And what grade are you in?
8th.
And what has been your experience? Are you in person or virtual? What?
I'm virtual right now.
Okay. Are you all doing any pod learning? Kind of describe what that whole experience is like. Did you all meet up for a pod meeting or something? How does that work at the church?
We kind of just gather and just do our work, and we may go outside for a little bit, may eat something, but that's really just about it.
All right. How have you managed the experience? Obviously, it's a lot different from what you've been used to. How have you managed that experience? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
What I like about it is I get to just be around people, and so I just don't have to work by myself alone at home. And really just so we could just do stuff, so I could actually have a conversation with somebody that's around my age and not online.
So that you know, I think that speaks again to what we were talking about earlier, the importance for the human interaction during the learning environment. So Brother Glover, why don't you come in and just talk about, you know, the significance and how you seek to, you know, to overcome or, you know, keep the students moving in a positive direction despite the lack of human human contact, I should say, not interaction, because we're interacting right now, but it's just, you know, through social media.
You know what? Thank you, Brother Mike. I find that so ironic because up until this point, we were living in this social media world where you could be in the same house and you could be texting someone that's in another room. And now we're in a space where we're clamoring for social interaction, right? I could walk in a party and it's 100 people and my head down in my phone and I could barely look up and wave at cats, right? Because I'm protecting myself via that. And so it's ironic that we're in this space now, right? I think it's important as leaders that we continue to teach and make sure that they understand the importance of face-to-face interactions and conversations and communication, because on any hierarchy that you look on, you can use Oval, email, Instagram, Facebook. The number one way that we're going to communicate is going to be face-to-face, right? It's going to be that perception deal, right? It's going to be body language. It's going to be eye contact. So as I work in and throughout with these students, whether we're here or whether we're face-to-face, right? We've set up at the college where we did a pretty good job per the state guidelines of making sure that we're further enough apart, but I still ask that these students come to the campus. I want to look at you. I want to see who you are. I want to see how you dress. I want to see how you present yourself. See if there are any opportunities there, because I think over the long run, right, that's what begins to make the difference. This young man right here, I'm super impressed by all these young gentlemen on here, right? What they say, and a child will lead us, because they get it, right? And it's like they got it early, right? The ones that we need to keep reaching for are the ones that aren't necessarily on this call, right? They have the gift. They need that nudge to understand what direction. They need those leadership skills that they're currently using for not so good to understand how positive it could be in the other direction. And so as we continue to work with these students, I think about myself. And you say college experience. Well, the college part, right, the reading, the writing, I wasn't so hot about when I first went. It was the experience, right? I was a hooper, I was 6'5", and I was from Chicago. And in my mind, that's what I went for. I went to hoop and play ball and get the girls and pledge. I'm sorry, Dr. Grant, but I said, I'm gonna pledge and I'm gonna be right. But along the way, I saw some young brothers from Louisiana and Detroit and down on the dirt road to Alabama that I played with, studying in study hall and really getting a lesson. And I will tell you, it bugged me out. I'm like, why y'all studying? So my whole deal caught up a little bit later in life, really understanding that I was destined to be a scholar. Right? I was destined to continue to be a lifelong learner. And as we continue, right, to work with these young men, I think to me it starts with communication, really understanding how they communicate and how we can help them in that way. I think that then dove into how they navigate, understanding the likability factor. It's okay to be likable. It's okay for somebody to be like, I like that kid. Right? And just continue to drive home the importance of priorities and making sure you're taking care of your obligations. I won't talk on, but in my current role, from a city college perspective, when I look statistically across the board, I look at all the nationalities, we enroll the least amount of African-American males. From a city college perspective, $1,752 for 15 credits, and we enroll the least amount for a minimum of 15 credits per semester is $1,752. And we enroll the least amount, right? So my gigantic task or my arduous ask right now is to create out-of-the-box enrollment opportunities to get these brothers, you know, to come to school. And so joining panels like this, I listen, I learn, and I take these ideas back. But it's continued work, and we'll continue to work on it.
So, Brother Glove, I want to ask one thing, because that's one of the questions I wanted to get with you. As Director of Enrollment up there, you know, and I think you just kind of said some of that, but we don't have to talk about specifically the metrics, but just in general, what has the direction been going? It doesn't sound like it's been going in a positive direction in terms of enrollment. So what is it that you've seen?
You know what, enrollment, in the particular instance I'm in, enrollment was down about double digits when I first got there back in 17. And through innovation, through some out-of-the-box type of activities, joined a group called Men of Color in Education, partnered with early childhood portion of the college. They began to give scholarships. We went out and found young men of color who were interested in becoming educators. We were able to pay for their education. That helped. I'll be honest with you, some of the courses around, and I hope this is cool, some of the courses around this cannabis industry and these students really learning the back end has helped tremendously with enrollment, them just finding something they want to do. The other part is that traditional, in most instances when I go in these homes or talk to these parents, the traditional go to school, get a 4-year degree, come out, get a job, that thought is fading a little bit, right? Because I can go and get my barber certificate, or I can go and get my beautician certificate, or I can go and get my automotive certificate and go out, and as long as I take me some business classes, I'm certified, I'm licensed, I can make a living for myself. I can go learn how to be a culinary chef. I can drive trucks. And so just to answer your question in particular, I do see a rise in Hispanic males across the board that are entering college. I do, statistically, I see a rise. And in talking with them, most of it is that this younger generation, right, they're the heads of their households. Their parents don't speak English. The parents don't understand the technology. And if you look at those two things right there, you don't speak English, you don't know the technology, then whoever do, they kind of running the setup. Yeah. And so I find a lot of these young Hispanic males are going back to school. That's why I see the trend on an upward, on an upward move right now.
I got you. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Brother Grant, you're right over there at the AUC, man. You see it all. And I know just even before all this hit, I've had the luxury of knowing you for quite some time and how involved you are in the community and at your school. What is navigating? You mentioned something when you were introducing yourself that you're trying to be a little bit more in space with them. Because one thing I have continued to hear from the youth is, waking up and being online, that's not really what we're getting, so forth. So how are you navigating with them to try and keep them engaged? Because really, we can't lose the Evans and the Bozemans, and how are you doing that? What's your engagement look like?
Well, attempting to do exactly what we would do if we were in person, just make the class engaging. Many of them, especially when it comes to Black or African history, it's their first time even hearing it. So I'm that professor that somebody did it for me, I'm doing it for them. The other thing is I have a nice cadre of brothers and sisters that I'm able to bring into my classroom, whether it's virtually or physically. Brother Mauli comes to my class every semester, as a civil rights attorney and before he was a criminal attorney, that they're impacted because many of my students want to be our political science students and they want to go into law. And so they really have not touched an attorney before. And so that gives them the opportunity to. So my point to in answering your question, I try to make it engaging by, one, connecting to them by talking to them and having a class where I can make it colloquial, make what brother said earlier, Brother Glover, that, make the hard discussion, plain, and make these deep concepts plain and make it, make sense at home. If I'm talking to the sisters, and especially the Black women, we know that they are an important group in America. One, as far as the voting bloc, they're the fastest growing entrepreneurial group, while at the same time they're the fastest going to jail too. So we have to watch numbers, and they need to be the scholars that are doing the research around what's going on with Black women. What's the Black woman's perspective? Knowing that you're the most marginalized, in the country. Yeah. And so, you get affected in certain ways. But we see entrepreneurship rising among African-American women in ways that we haven't seen in many years. So my point is to make the class engaging, make it make sense, and just connect with them in a way that is intellectual. But I think everybody on here also has the algorithm of being cool. And that's the other thing. They got to see you that you a cool dude at the same time. And if you have that equation or that formula actively engaged, they will engage with you in the most wonderful ways. Yeah.
I was on just real quick, man. I was on a panel, Brother Grant, probably last month, and one of the things that the students were saying, and this was a student that brought this up, actually one of my former students at Cristo Rey Atlanta, she said, this is a really good environment to really find out those teachers that are really in it for the right reasons, because they lead with compassion and love, and they want to get that synergy with you. They want to do all the things that you're describing. And unfortunately, in many cases, what it's doing is it is manifesting those educators that are not in it for the right reason. So, brother, everything you just said, man, I appreciate that. I feel that.
You know, to your point there, and the difference as between being a young teacher and now as Maoli said, a seasoned, instructor. You know, I didn't have to do much, in my 20s when I was teaching middle school and high school. You know, I walk in the building, I was a star as it to those students. And I can be mean, but they're going to love me no matter how mean I am to them. And so, so you're right. I do this because I love it. I'm a second generation educator, family full of educators, and I surround myself with brothers I learn from as well and push me to be better, even if they're unconscious of the fact that they're doing that.
It's interesting. Really quickly, I apologize.
No, jump in.
It's wild, right? So often when I was in sales, and I find that this equates to when I talk with students, I would always start with what I did. I would tell them what I do, and I would tell them how I did it. And then eventually I would get to why I do what I do. But what I find in education, to the point that you guys are making now, when you tell someone your why, right? When you really get into your why, that's what you lead with, and then you get to your how and your what. There's more of a connection. I found that there's more of a connection when they realize my story. Hey, I'm not real different from you, right? Here's why I'm doing what I do. And when you so to say lay it all out, the ability to be digestible becomes. And I hear Brother Grant continue to talk about bringing them in, talking to them at their level, right? Because learning is fostered through activity. And as long as you're involved in it, right, you're learning. Somebody's not just talking at you, right? It's not a sit and get. And so I think us telling our why plays a major role in how we connect with these students as well.
Let me get a little light. I want to go a little deeper for all of y'all, including Thurgood here. We talk about, and we have talked about, that you have to get enough quality touches in life and in the game. Like last night, y'all watched the game. How many touches did Anthony Davis need? He needed one more touch to win the game. And what I mean by that, he needed to get a touch is getting the ball in sports, right? It's the same way when we're looking at how we move the needle with our young brothers and sisters. Are they getting quality, positive touches at the right time by the right people with the right information? And I really would like to hear from all of you all who gave you that touch, who sparked that in you to say, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Here is my why, because we have to find it, right? We're not born with knowing our purpose. So we got to find our why. But when we find it, it's like your soul is on fire, and it's a beautiful thing. It allows you to do things that, you don't get tired, right? There's certain times I don't get tired because I know that I'm moving in my purpose. I know that what I'm doing is what the Creator has put me on this planet to do, that is a part of that. So I want to start with you, Evan. If you could briefly talk about a touch, an opportunity, something that gave you, help crystallize for you and make you want to go to another level in your being and what you're doing in your educational journey.
Right. So early on, I feel like one of my first touches I really got early on in my lifetime, were just going through just this long road of manhood and just human life, was about when I was about 13. So when I was about 11 going on 12, my father passed away, and I really didn't really have that great of a I don't say that great of him, but I didn't really have a father figure around except for my brothers. So around that time, my brothers really stepped in, especially my older brother, in filling in that space. And I spent a lot of time with him and learning from him. And he was closer to my age than my father was, so he could talk to me about things that my father couldn't really talk to me about. So learning from him, I really learned a lot about being intentional with things and being straightforward and handling your business and learning the importance of that. And stuff like a second wave, a large role where I got a big touch was, of course, my senior year, you know, going to the lab. I feel like just like the lab as a whole, all those guys as a collective that people I never even met before wanted the best for me, you know, and making sure also just being intentional as well, once again, but using your purpose to help other people. So, yeah, those are like the touches I got in my life.
Yeah, just know that I think there's such power in knowing somebody's rooting for you. You know, I mean, all of us who play sports, it's nothing like that home court advantage is real, right? And that's what the Black Man Lab is. It's a space and a place where we just rooting for young black brothers to do their thing, whatever that is, whether that's picking up a microphone, a basketball, PhD, whatever it is, we rooting for y'all. So I'm gonna bring Thurgood in, and then we'll come to Robbie. Thurgood, what touch? You're 13 now, and Evan just talked about when he was 13, he got a touch from his older brother that helped him, move forward. What touches have you gotten that are keeping you focused and moving in a way that you're trying to fulfill your purpose?
I think my mom and her constant persistence or her constant touches that do your work now, do it. Yes, and I am also some of my peers in the different clubs that I'm in.
What club are you in that you feel like it helps push you a little bit?
Probably the anime club that I'm in right now.
And what's it called?
An anime club.
Anime club?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do y'all do?
So basically, we just sit around, play some video games, and watch anime.
And do you have a leadership role in it?
Yes, I am the president of the club.
All right. There you go, brother. Appreciate you. Brother Robbie, come on in, man. Talk about your touches.
Say that one more time.
Talk about what touches you've experienced, quality touches, you know, who in your life, a teacher, a coach, even an experienced man that's helped you, you know, on the trajectory that you're on.
Okay. Obviously parents and family friends can always, well, I won't say always, but for me, they help me get through a lot of situations. In particular, I played golf in high school. I was a captain of my golf team. So I would say my golf coach, she kind of helped me stay on track because I wanted to play basketball, but freshman year I was like 5'3", so it wasn't looking good for me. And once I got cut from the team, it was just like I was just there. I wasn't doing anything with myself. So I had this golf coach, and she reached out to me because, you know, what freshman wants to play golf in high school, if we're being real. So she kind of reached out to me and made sure I kept playing. So I ended up getting a job at the golf course, played all 4 years. So it kind of turned into my life. So I would say she definitely just, in that respect, helped me to stay on point. I'm trying to think.
You let her.
I'll say this whole program, this program too. Say it again.
I said, and you lettered all 4 years in golf, man?
I did all 4 years. And I would have never, like, leaving 8th grade, the months leaving 8th grade and starting high school, I would have never expected that I was going to do that. It just kind of happened. I could tell my coach, I could tell she wanted me to play. I didn't know why I was terrible in 9th grade, but that just shows how much she cared about me and wanted to see me go do something with myself. So that definitely made a difference. Programs like this helped me, Monday nights, I wasn't doing anything, should have been, but it helped me kind of just put everything into perspective and step back and look at what I'm doing, where I want to be, how I'm going to get there. So I'd say you all too definitely inspire and encourage me. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
All right. We appreciate you, brother. Brother Grant, I think you mentioned you had a professor at Wilberforce who impacted you. What other touches have you gotten in your life that's helped guide you on this path? Your commitment to teaching is not just like African history, like it's just in your head, right? It's like you are trying to live a certain kind of way and bestow that upon all of the people that you interact with. What clicked for you for that to be part of your life mission?
I will put it on 4 clicks, and I'll tell you. The first one was 10th grade. Brother from Morehouse came. I had an experience, a brother who, again, I think we modeled that today, that was strong and intelligent, and finished college, and he was even an Omega. But it impacted me to do better in school. Wait
a minute. Was that some shade, bro? I mean, I'm a Kappa, but I ain't gonna just let you throw no shade.
No. I'm just saying that
he was even an Omega.
We can differentiate.
D Rice would be going crazy if I didn't say something. All right.
Yeah, so he impacted me to do much better in school and not just have hoop dreams. And so I got more serious. College, I told you about Dr. Marvin Hare and what he did. And then I got to the AU, and I went to see the lecture of Dr. John Henry Clark. And it literally, I had another epiphany of type of moment. And he just sent me on a loop and I just, I went on an eating frenzy of just information because of what he did. And it impacted me, where at that very juncture, I had the opportunity to go overseas and play ball or stay in school and go this scholarly route. And so it was so impactful. I'm like, play ball in England, play pro in England, they play ball in England, a young man who had no mentorship, of course, but it was interesting because I chose scholarship because I was being fed in the AU. And lastly, a big part of it was my fraternity and my friends, because these brothers were scholarly. They were also into history, and they were extremely sharp and extremely smart. And so being around that as my clique, you can't help but to your game to come up even further, even more. And so those were the 4 cornerstones of that pushed me. And as a result, my friends, like you, like Joe, like all the brothers of Let Us Make Man to Black Man Lab in my fraternity, all scholars, all cool, and pushes you to stay in the vein of being a brother of light, being a brother of history, being a scholar, being professional, and just being a good brother. And so you can't help but be a better person naturally with having such a class of brothers and sisters around you. Yeah.
Appreciate you. But Al, I'm gonna come to you, man, and I think, you know, and I want to give a little bit of a frame, Al, because you're in Chicago right now. I think, you know, we were watching national news. We're in South Georgia, man. They talking about Chicago, man, and it's just like, you know, folk ask us, man, how do y'all make it? How do y'all live and all of that? And it's just this portrait of despair and hopelessness, man. And here you are, you know, as a father, as a husband, as an educational activist, in terms of you know, you going to get them. You feel me? You know, it's different from, you know, you not just sitting up in your office waiting for them to knock on your door. You knocking on doors. What? Talk about those touches that have put you on this path, bro.
So it's interesting. Mine are a little bit in the reverse. Back in the 6th grade, I had a teacher named Miss Penny. And because I was tall and long and a kinesthetic learner, for those of you all know, that's hands-on, she didn't understand how to differentiate how she taught me. And so she would call me dumb and sit down. And it was always like I was the one, right? I remember it like it was yesterday. It was always like I was the one that was getting it. So my mom would come up quite often to talk and do the principal meetings and such, to no avail. Over about a 2-month period, my mom just worked with me. She said, here's how we're going to deal with Miss Penny. And so it started out as a negative process, but mom had me ready in one fall day, y'all, I promise. Miss Penny got to hollering at me in that class, and it was all loud, and everybody was turned up, as the kids would say today. But mom had me prepared, and I told Miss Penny, I looked her in her eye, and I told Miss Penny, you have philosophically dehumanized me to the extent where I may not be able to adequately function as an adult. And if you do not refrain from treating me in such a manner, I will have no other choice but to take you to the U.S. District Court and charge you with a philosophical tornamental injury. Because if insensitive teachers like you continue to brutalize potentially young, brilliant individuals like myself, you ruin my life's chances. And it's interesting, I still get chills, because at that moment, I thought Miss Penny was gonna knock fire from me. But what I learned and what I didn't understand when mama was having me paint the fence up and down and back and forth was that if you learned how to use your words and you learn how to command your space, you understand tone and how to interject and so forth, Miss Penny backed up in the other direction. That was the first time I understood the power of communication. I was in the 7th grade. And I used that going forward. The next time I got a little older, and I had a boss. I was working for WWW Granger. I ain't scared to say that name. And I had a boss. And he was actively pushing me out the door. And here I am, this polished communicator, 40 accounts, I'm doing my thing. In my mind, he was actively pushing me out the door. And so it worked. He worked on me until it worked. But come back around, some of the work I was doing, I was brought back to Granger to speak to his group of people around leadership and what was their action logic around leadership, right? What role did they fall in? And so that was very rewarding. It wasn't an aha moment, but it was an opportunity to say, hey, I'm working on what I'm doing. And then finally, the gentleman I work for right now, his name is Dr. Sean Jackson, former science teacher, CPS on the West Side. He has worked his way up through leadership and just networking and really understanding education in CPS. He's now the president of Truman College. I think that partnership and him really understanding me and giving me free reign to be me, to tell my story, to connect with these students in a way, and I don't want to overuse the word, but it makes it digestible, to share my experience as a college athlete, to share my experience as a scholar, to share my experience as at one point a college dropout. I think is extremely, I give him big ups when you talk about touch points in terms of allowing me the opportunity to manifest, what's going on in some of these kids' lives through my story. So I think those 3 touches, it was funny listening to Brother Jarrod. those 3 touches had the most profound point in my life, and I share those stories with every student I get an opportunity to share them with.
I appreciate that, brother. That's
real quick. Chicago is tough right now, and I apologize. And as a dad of a set of 21-year-old twins, 6'5", long, out here doing the right thing, it's tough. It's scary. I tell you to my core, it's scary. But you as long as you know that you're empowering them, and I'm listening to these young brothers talk, you're empowering them with foundationally the right thing to do, keeping your head on the swivel. I think we'll be in a good place. I think we'll be in a good place. I had to hit that, but it's scary, man. But I think we'll be in a good place.
Appreciate that, brother. Hey, as we get ready to wind down, here's some powerful things you guys have offered. I want to go back before we close it out with habits and rituals, because we need to get ready to wind down. It's very important to me. I need to hear from Brother Bozeman and Evan. You know, we see how Brother Grant and Brother Glover, how they've navigated the spaces that they are. Brother Grant's kind of engaging more. Brother Glover saying he's seeing the Hispanic numbers go up and so forth. You know, Lil Bozeman, you down to FAMU. I went to FAMU. I went to FAMU.
I like it.
Fool. A fool. I got
you went to FAM and you played out.
And I played out. So, Brother Bozeman and Evan, man, I need to hear from you guys. How are you all navigating? And these young brothers that are coming behind you need to hear. How are you navigating this when you're in a dormitory, Bozeman? You can't even go up on the set that often, or y'all aren't eating the calf. Like, what's that look like? Tell me how you're navigating and surviving that. And then right behind that, Evan, I want you to do the same, brother.
All right. Well, I would say it's just different. I wouldn't say it's harder. I wouldn't say it's easier. It's just a different environment, different situations. So just staying focused mentally and with everything around you, keeping your goals organized, making sure you know what you want to do, everything you want to do, and how you're going to do it, and just take it one step at a time, figuring out how you're going to achieve those goals. So for most people, once you get to college, getting in, it depends where you go, but getting in tends to be the hardest part. And then once you get here, you know, it's just school. But with this, it's just a whole nother, it's just something else you have to think about. So grades, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, it's just school. Let me see. I'm gonna let Evan talk for a minute.
All right, well, I appreciate that, Bozeman. Go ahead, Evan. What about you, man?
Like Rob said, it's really just school, to be honest with you. Like, even though like I'm not on campus, it's like all I know is my work is at my computer. It's not gonna go nowhere. So it's really up to me how I spend my day. You know, like my bed is right there. I could sleep all day if I wanted to and not get my work done and fail all my classes. But I'm virtual right now. You know what I'm saying? So like during the school year, if people like mess around, miss a day at school, they're like, all right, I'm straight. I got my work on my computer. I can do that. So I just look at it like that. Like, it's not as bad as people make it think. Make it seem. Like when it first started, like I hated virtual school. Like when I was like this, the second end of high school and everything first started, I was like, man, I'm not even trying to look at a computer right now. But I was like, man, ain't nobody gonna do this work for me. So I'm like, I might as well just knock it out and just like have those. Let me put this: having those conversations with yourself, but keeping like a sense of humor in it. Just having a sense of humor about it, I feel like will get you a long way. Like, yeah, just having a sense of humor with this whole thing will take you a long way, because like you can mess around and be stuck on the idea of the pandemic and just be thinking like really pessimistic, like, oh yeah, this isn't gonna end, blah, blah, blah. But like, you don't have any control over that. So I just try to focus on the stuff I do have control over and try to just put that to the best of my ability and have fun with it. Because like, even though I'm at home on lockdown, there's people that don't even have a house right now. You know what I'm saying? Like people out there that have it way worse than I do. So just accepting what I have and have fun with it for real.
Man, I love and I appreciate that perspective, man. Both of you guys, I think that's very wise of you guys. So as we end up, man, what I want to ask, and it really ties into kind of what you all just said, your focus and what you do to stay sane and stay focused and be in the space that you need to be in. But for all four of you guys, I want to talk about the habits, rituals, and practices that you do on a day-to-day basis to just kind of keep you engaged, keep you focused, keep you sane, keep you knowing, hey, I got this. This is under control. Or, hey, it's not under control, and here's how I'm going to get it under control. But what habits, rituals, or practices might you have? Just tell me a couple things for a couple seconds. And Brother Grant, we're going to start with you because I know that you know the drill. And then we'll go around. We'll go Brother Grant, Brother Glover, Evan, and we'll end up with Bozeman. And I want to hear from Thurgood.
Well, Brother Barker, right now, getting up in the morning, do some libations, speak to our ancestors is one. Try to get out and trying to get back in basketball shape, and that's taking a long time. But hey, I'm out there. I get 5 miles in a day, most days, and so just those two disciplines. And right now, I'm studying for comprehensive exams. So then I'm waking up pretty early. I read for a couple of hours first thing. Then I jump out, do the 5 miles, and I'm teach class, and then I'm back to some study. And so that's where I am right now. Those are my rituals right now.
Appreciate that, brother. Brother Glover.
You know what? Every morning I wake up, I listen to Rocksteady by Aretha Franklin. That's my song. She, every morning I push play. Rocksteady, baby. Just it settles me, right? To Brother Grant's point, I have a little workout ritual. Done fell off a little bit, but I have a workout ritual, and then I have an accountability partner out in Phoenix. A young man who's doing real estate. He's doing really well. We try to go 3 days a week where we just talk to one another and make sure that what's on our calendar, both personal and professionally, that we're holding each other accountable to getting that done. I too just embarked on a journey to receive my master's in organizational leadership. About 8 weeks in right now, just finished the first course there. Don't know what I was doing, but really having fun reading and writing again. And I share that story with the students. And so I think those three things, and Brother Grant, I could probably reach out to kind of line that up a little bit better where there's some set time, because right now I find myself all over the place.
Oh, yeah. Understood, bro. You got to get back in academic shape, that's all.
Yeah, the basketball will do what it do. You can just stand under the bucket at I.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Evan, what about you, man?
Like the brother said, I'm trying to get back into academic shape with the rituals disciplines I do. So every day I try to figure out times where I can read. So over this, in the beginning of quarantine, I was like collecting more and more books. Like during the school year, I was collecting like a lot of books that like I was interested in reading. But over the quarantine, my family, we all just like shared our thoughts about different books. And then some books I was given by my mother and my brother, and I started buying more books. So like as a reminder, every single day at my desk, I have like all my books are right here. So I can't really run away from them. So just try to figure out times to read, because it's all stuff I'm interested in. So I was like, why not? And it's going to help you more. Like reading on your own, it kind of helps you when it comes to like reading for school. So it doesn't make it seem as bad. So it's like if I'm in a funk someday and I don't really feel like reading or do my schoolwork, I'll just read a book, and then that'll just put me in like the right mindset to go ahead and do my work. And I try to do 50 push-ups a day, because like for a minute I had fell off my rocker too, like on the fitness side. Like I wasn't really doing a whole lot, but at least getting a little 50 every day, at least 50 to 100, and drink water all day. So
good stuff. All right, we're going to close out with Bozeman, and then Thurgood is going to close us out. Go ahead, Robert.
All right, so I start every day by checking my emails, making sure I'm on top of everything professionally, academically. Check my emails, do classes. Most days I have classes when I wake up. I go to the gym a lot, and then I try to stay in touch. I don't know about everybody's religion, but I try to do a little little something to keep my faith strong. After this meeting, I got Bible study tonight at 8 Mondays. So I try to keep my head. I feel like that helps clear my head too, just staying organized mentally. So those are my big three: spiritually, academically, and then working out physically. As long as I am in decent shape in all three, I can usually be pretty productive throughout the day.
Awesome. Appreciate that. All right, Thurgood, man. What's most important is what are your habits and rituals, man? We're all about to learn from this. So tell us all about it, brother.
So one of my habits is meeting up with my anime club basically every day, so we can just kind of talk about problems that we may have or a question that we might have in the anime that we're watching. Reading is really another one. I might read for like 2 or 3 hours. And then video games also. Yes.
I received that. Well, you know, you described it very simply, but everything I heard was a lot of contact with other people, a lot of staying in communication, a lot of interactions with others, man. That's a whole lot of good things.
And reading for 3 hours a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very transparent with yours, and I mess with that.
He is a reader. Let's make sure of that over here. Brothers,
Hey, Miley, before you jump, I just want to make sure you know it's anime, not anime, because I think you might have been thinking of something different.
I know. Y'all hipping me up. Y'all put me on game, man. You know, I'm constantly learning. You know,
it's the Asian cartoons, brother, not Ike's.
Yeah, man. Talking about eat the cake, anime. Eat the cake. All right,
hey man, bring us home, brother. Bring us home, man. I've been enjoying just sitting back watching, man. But go ahead and bring us home, man.
Yeah, man, this is another beautiful night. A lot of comments, I think, were on Facebook and the way people are watching. So we're gonna follow up, and then we want y'all, man, when this goes up on YouTube, we want you to share it. You know, we just want people to see, our people in particular, to see hope, and that's what we believe Black Man Lab is. When you can gather brothers like this that are intergenerational, and they can tell their story. They're on a lot of platforms where we get to tell our story in a safe and sacred space. So we appreciate you, brothers, for your transparency, your honesty. And so we want to close out. We like arms here. Put your arm up for me. There you go. Like this, y'all. So if y'all can take yourself off of mute first, because we're going to ask you to repeat something. So take yourself off of mute. Go ahead, Robbie. Yeah, come on. So my man Jiri Algani gave us this ritual. And when we were in person, we are locked in arms. And what we say is that I am a link in this chain and it won't break here. Let's say that together. I am a link in this chain.
I'm a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it
won't break here.
I am a link in this chain.
I am a link in this chain.
And it won't break here.
And it
won't break here.
We are links in this chain.
We
are links in this chain.
And we won't break here.
We won't
break here.
Ashe. Thank you, brothers. Thank y'all. Appreciate your energy. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Keep doing your thing. Make the hood great again. There it is. No doubt. No doubt.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
family.
Thank
y'all, man.
Thank you, Evan, and thank
you,
Bozeman. And good meeting you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Appreciate it. Yes, thank you all for having me.
Thank you all, man. Thank you.
Great job, Joe. Thank you. All right, Marty.
Thanks, brothers. All right, man. Kiss. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
All right. Be good, y'all.